You never imagine your life will fall apart in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday, but that's exactly what happened to me. It didn't happen with yelling or a dramatic confrontation. It happened in one quiet, heartbreaking moment that changed everything. That evening, I stayed late at the office finishing work. My name is Daniel Carter. I'm 34 years old and work as the senior operations manager at a rapidly growing logistics company. People know me as calm, dependable, and the kind of man who solves problems instead of creating them. My boss, Richard Hale, a polished and influential man in his early 50s, always seemed to trust me. At least, that's what I believed. I realized I had forgotten my laptop charger at home, so I decided to drive back and grab it. My house was only 15 minutes away. It felt like a completely normal trip. Nothing seemed unusual. Nothing raised any suspicion. But the moment I walked inside, something felt wrong. The lights were dim, much dimmer than they should have been at that hour. My heartbeat quickened, not because I was scared, but because my instincts told me something wasn't right. Then I heard it, a laugh, her laugh. Sophie, my wife. She was 29, intelligent, charming, and lately she'd become distant in ways I couldn't explain. I slowly walked toward our bedroom, every step feeling heavier than the one before. Then I saw it. The bedroom door was slightly open, shadows moved inside, and then I heard a voice I recognized immediately. Richard. For a moment, everything inside me went completely silent. There was no anger, no shouting, no panic, only absolute clarity. I didn't storm into the room or make a scene. I simply stood there long enough to accept the truth I never wanted to face. Then I quietly turned around and walked away. That was the moment they believed they had defeated me. They couldn't have been more wrong. The next morning, I arrived at work exactly on time. My expression was calm. My voice was steady. Richard greeted me as though nothing had happened. In his world, people like me never fought back. Later that day, Sophie sent me a casual message. "Miss you." I almost laughed. Instead of letting my emotions control me, I began making a plan. You see, Richard wasn't only my boss. He was careless behind that polished image. Over the years, I had managed confidential reports, financial records, internal audits, and sensitive company information. He trusted me because he never imagined I would use any of it against him. But I remembered everything. Those late nights became nights of quiet investigation. I reviewed emails, financial transactions, and records that didn't quite add up. Slowly, a pattern appeared. Richard had been transferring company money into shell accounts, moving small amounts over time so nobody would notice unless they knew where to look, and I knew exactly where to look. Within 1 week, every piece of evidence was collected, organized, and impossible to deny. Then I made my move. I didn't confront him privately. I didn't threaten him or raise my voice. That was exactly the reaction he expected. Instead, I requested an urgent board meeting under the authority of a financial review. As senior operations manager, I had just enough authority to make it happen. Richard walked into the meeting completely confident. He even nodded at me as if I were still his loyal employee. I connected my laptop to the projector. Then I began. Slide after slide appeared on the screen. Financial records, transactions, account histories, timelines. The room fell completely silent. The board members leaned closer as confusion slowly turned into disbelief and then into anger. Richard's confident smile disappeared. "Daniel, what is this?" he asked, struggling to stay calm. For the first time since that night, I looked him directly in the eyes. "This," I said quietly, "is accountability." He tried to interrupt. He denied everything, but the evidence spoke louder than any excuse he could make. Within 10 minutes, company security was called. Within an hour, Richard was escorted out of the very building he once controlled. As for Sophie, that part was much easier. I had already filed for divorce quietly and professionally. I left the papers on the kitchen counter with my wedding ring resting beside them. No arguments, no screaming, just an ending. A few days later, she came to my office. Her eyes were red, her voice trembled, and apologies poured out as if they could erase everything that had happened. I listened without interrupting. Then I told her something she never expected to hear. "I didn't lose you," I said calmly. "You lost me." Then I turned around and walked away. Many people believe revenge has to be loud, emotional, and explosive, but the kind that leaves the deepest mark, the kind people never forget, is quiet, patient, carefully planned, and absolutely final. Before you go, if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support truly helps me continue creating more powerful, emotional, and realistic stories like this. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload, and let me know in the comments what would you have done if you were in this situation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.